Hello everyone, I'm Mrs. Harshana Munasinghe. So I'm going to conduct the Statistical Quality Control module from today, and I hope you all are keeping well. And I hope that you have already received your timetables by now, and in your timetables, we have allocated some slots within a week for this statistical quality control module. So I will be uploading lectures as recordings, so you can keep those time slots in your timetables reserved for this particular module. Right, so if you have any questions, we can have a forum in the future to discuss questions and the tutorials as well. So talking about this module, first I would like to say that I have uploaded all the relevant lecture materials to our online library, that is CAL. So I have uploaded the module descriptor and all the other lecture materials as well. So you can download all the lecture materials and get ready before you listen to the lecture. So if you go through with the module descriptor, you will see what are the things that we are going to discuss in this particular module, and also what are the learning outcomes and the references that you have to follow, and assessment criteria, and the method of teaching and learning as well. So I hope to give you assignments and an in-semester examination to evaluate, but this may change due to the current situation. But anyway, if there is a change, I will inform you in advance. Okay, so I think we can start session 1 today in statistical quality control. So first, I would like to show you the learning outcomes of the session. So we are going to talk about the needs of controlling and improving quality of a product or a service, and we are going to identify the quality dimensions, and we are going to define what is quality and what is in quality improvements, and we are going to talk about the quality characteristics and also the statistical why we use statistical quality control in quality improving, and we are going to discuss about the nominal and target values, and we are going to discuss about the specification limits and also the main historical significant events of quality control, and also just to identify what are the major areas in quality control and improvement. So when it comes to quality, my first question is, everywhere, all the time we talk about quality, but why? Have you ever think about that? So let's say one day you become a manufacturer of a product or a service. In that case, you will also worry about the quality of your product or a service. But why? So I'll explain you with a very simple example. So let's say you are going to manufacture a mobile phone to the industry or to the market. So if you're going to manufacture a mobile phone, we know when it comes to a mobile phone with the same features, we can find a variety of mobile phones in the market, right? Even though you have the same features, if you check the price of the mobile phones, the price is varying through a huge range, right? So that is the problem. If you can find the same mobile phone with the same features for 1,500 and also for 150,000, what would you choose, right? In that case, quality plays an important role. That's where we check for the quality, right? If you have a good quality in the product with a minimum price, definitely we would choose that, right? So quality is very important due to two reasons. One is when we want to compete with the other products, right? If you want to sell your mobile phones in the market, you have to maintain the quality of that. Then only customers will tend to buy your product and also to survive, right? So these two are very, very important. So due to these two reasons, quality plays a very important role. So when it comes to quality, when you look at a product or when it comes to a service, how do you measure quality? Why do you say this product is a high quality one when you compare to another, right? Then when it comes to that point, these quality dimensions plays an important role, because you look at these quality dimensions and then only you identify whether your product or a service is in good quality, right? So actually the quality dimensions means that they are the real measurements of quality. So the first one is the performance, right? So if you are buying a mobile phone to talk or to take a video call with someone who's in abroad, you always look for that feature, right? So if you can find a mobile phone for 20,000, but if you don't have the video call facility, we don't buy that mobile phone. We go for a mobile phone even with a higher price, but we want to get done the intended job, right? So that is meant by performance, right? Will the product or the service do the intended job, right? Or in simple words, will the product or service do what we want them to do, right? And then the next quality measurement is the reliability. That is, how often does the product fail? So when you, after buying a product or a service, if you have to go and go to the manufacturer continuously for repairs, right? If it's continuously failing, then that is not in the good quality, right? So that is what meant by reliability. So we always check for the reliability. And the next thing is durability. When we buy something, we want that product or service to last for a long time period, right? Now, for an example, if you are buying a refrigerator or if you are buying a washing machine, we are buying that thing for like sometimes 5 to 6 years, right? Sometimes even more than that we use those machines, the washing machine and the fridge, right? But if we feel like our washing machine or fridge, we have to change that in every year, so that is not a good quality product, right? So the durability is also important. The other thing is the serviceability, right? How easy is to repair? So that is also something very important. If you can easily reach the manufacturer or someone else to get it repaired, then that is also a measurement of quality. And the next thing is the aesthetics. Now, for an example, let's say when you are buying a mobile phone to get a video call, let's say you can find a mobile phone for 30,000 and another one for 40,000, and both mobile phones are having exactly the same features, right? In that case, if you want to attract customers for 40,000 mobile phone, you need to have something special compared to the 30,000 one, right? So in that case, the look is very important. How does your product look, right? So that is what meant by aesthetics. If it's having a good look, or in other words, if your cake is having a good icing layer, that is where you can sell your product, right? That is an important measurement in quality. The other thing is features, right? So other than the intended job, what are the other performances that your mobile phone is having? Whether you can use email, and whether you can have you can install Viber, WhatsApp, all these things are also important. And the next thing is the perceived quality, that is the reputation of the company, right? Sometimes we know when it comes to certain products, when we go to a market, when we are asking about that product, we always mention that name, right? So that is coming from the reputation of the company, right? So sometimes we tend to believe that certain products with certain company names are having a good quality, right? So that's because perceived quality is considered as a dimension of quality control. The other one is the conformance to standards, that is whether the product is made exactly as the designer intended, right? So when a manufacturer is manufacturing a product or a service, at the initial stage there is a particular design. So in the conformance standard or the conformance to standards, you have to check whether the product is based on those designs, right? So that is also playing an important role. So when it comes to quality, if you just Google and see what is quality, you will find so many definitions for quality. But the important thing is, when it comes to quality, very traditionally, we believe we have actually two definitions, right? In the past, what we believe as quality has changed with the time by now, right? So when it comes to the traditional definition, or when it comes to quality, in the past we believe the quality is always about fitness to use, or it's about the quality of the design, or about the quality of the conformance, right? So it never worry about the customer, right? If you take it in technical terms, in traditional definition, quality is based on the viewpoint products and services must meet the requirements of those who use them. That is, if you are the manufacturer, you always check whether is this easy to use, whether is this maintaining the quality design or the conformance, right, or the basic design of the product, right? It never worried about the customer. So in traditional theory, we had a very less focus on customer and more of a conformance to specification approach. We always worried about the design of the product, right? And less focus on customer. But by now, everything has changed, so the quality. So as for the quality modern definition, quality is something which is inversely proportional to variability, right? So what is this variability, right? Variability around the target. So when it comes to the modern definition, we tell there is something called variability, and this quality is something which is inversely proportional to variability. That is, if the variability is high, quality is low. If the variability is low, quality is high. Likewise, quality and variability are something which goes inversely to each other, right? So then, if quality is inversely proportional to variability, next question is, what is this variability? In what variability? right? So variability means, we know as we are people who are very familiar with statistics. The variability is the range, right, or the spread of a measurement. So in that case, we have to think in quality, what is the variability, in what variability that we are concerned about. So that is the variability around the target value, right? So in quality there is something called target value. So we are concerned about the variability of this target value. If the variability of this target value is high, quality is low. If the variability of this target value is low, quality is high. That's the meaning, right? So that is the modern definition. So I will explain you what is this target value in the next slides, right? So what you have to understand is, if the variability of the target value is high, quality is low. If the variability of the target value is low, quality is high, right? And vice versa. So if you want to improve the quality, since the quality is inversely proportional to this target value, right, what do we have to do is, we have to somehow reduce the variability of the target value if you want to improve the quality. So in that case, the quality improvement means the reduction of the variability in process and products. Alright, so we need to reduce the variability of variability in the process and the products if you want to improve the quality, right? So that is actually meant by what you have to do is, we have to reduce the wastage in the process in order to reduce the variability, right? That's how we can improve the quality. So when it comes to quality characteristics, right? When it comes to quality characteristics, there are 3 quality characteristics that we are concerned about. One quality characteristic is the physical quality characteristics, right? That is, for an example, if you are buying a product, let's say you are going to buy a cloth. So in that case, we are very concerned about the waist size. We need to match the waist size of our cloth to our size, right? And we are concerned about the length, and we are concerned about the material. And if you are going to buy an electronic equipment, you are concerned about the voltage, right? So all these are coming under the physical things. So that is physical quality characteristic. The second quality characteristic is sensory. How you feel about the product, or how you feel about the service, right? So that is, we can measure sensory using the taste or the appearance or the color. So when you have 2 mobile phones with the same features, with the same price, right? So but if these 2 are in 2 different colors, you use the color as a quality to choose what you're going to buy, right? So it comes under sensory, right? How you feel about. And the time orientation. The time orientation means how reliable and how durable and how easy it is for us to repair the certain product or a service. Actually, what we have done here is, the things that we discuss under quality dimensions, we have characterized all those dimensions into these 3 quality characteristics. right? So if you can remember, when it comes to performance, that is something that you can see physically in a product or a service. So that is coming under physical quality characteristic, right? And when it comes to the reliability and the durability and the serviceability, those things are coming under time orientation quality characteristic. And when it comes to features, aesthetics, that is how you feel about the product. So that is coming under the sensory quality characteristics. Likewise, we have categorized those quality dimensions into these three quality characteristics, right? And then the next thing is quality engineering. When it comes to quality control, in the industry, quality control, it plays a huge role. So you have quality control engineers, and sometimes in some factories and in some companies you have a separate department for quality control. So this quality engineering plays an important role. So then, what is this quality engineering? So actually, quality engineering is set of operational, managerial and engineering activities that a company uses to ensure that the quality characteristics of product are at the nominal or required level. So basically, when it comes to quality engineering, what we do is company is checking whether the manufactured product or the service of the company is maintaining the required standards of these quality characteristics, right? Whether your product is durable, reliable, whether your product is having all the physical requirements, right? Likewise, this quality engineering people, they are checking whether the product of the service is up to the required standard, right? So that is what meant by quality engineering. So I told you, when it comes to the modern definition of quality control, uh, in the modern definition, quality is something inversely proportionate to variability, right? So if this is inversely proportionate to variability, then we talk about the variability means the variability of the target value, right? So in that case, the talking about this variability is something very important. So the variability of quality characteristics. So you saw that we have three types of quality characteristics, right? So we have physical, we have sensory, and we have time orientation quality characteristics. In that case, what we do in quality control is we measure the variability of all these quality characteristics. Now, for an example, when it comes to a particular garment, let's say you are manufacturing some trousers, right? You are manufacturing a trouser. If the waist of your trouser, let's say if the medium, when it comes to a medium size trouser, let's say the waist size should be 32 inches. In that case, when you are manufacturing this product, sometimes it can be 32.1 inches, but that is okay. But when it comes to a medium size trouser, if the waist size is 32 point, let's say 7 inches, then in that case, it's not something that you can accept, right? So the variability is very high. So likewise, you have to check the variability of all the characteristics of your product or the service. So in that case, when you check this variability, it can be only explained by statistical terms. So because of that, statistical methods, they are playing a key role in quality control and also in quality improvement. So what is this nominal or target value of a characteristic? As the definition, it is the value of a measurement that corresponds to the desired value for that quality characteristic, and it is usually bounded by a range of values, usually known as specification limits. Right? So if I use the same example, if you are a manufacturer of a garment, for an example a trouser, when it comes to a medium sized trouser, if the waist size is 32 inches, you have to maintain it as 32 inches. But due to some small variations, due to some unavoidable circumstances, the waist size of the medium size pants can be 32.1 inches, right? Or sometimes it can be 31.9 inches, but that thing you can actually accept, right? So in this thing, what we do is, normally when you are manufacturing your product, you at the beginning, at the designing stage, you take these are our target values, right? You have a clear understanding about your target values. As for an example, if you are manufacturing a medium size pant, the waist size should be 32 inches. That will be your nominal or the target value. But it can be vary within a small range. Let's say the maximum value that it can goes up is 32.3 inches, and the lowest value that it can go down is 31.8 inches, right? So between these two values, it can be vary, but the optimum value is 32 inches. So this optimum value is known as the nominal value or the target value, and the two higher and lower values that it can be vary is known as a specification limits. That is, the upper specification limit is the upper value and the lower specification limit is the lower value, right? So this upper specification limit and the lower specification limit, they are usually determined by the design engineer when your product is designing. So when it comes to history of quality control, actually, if you just Google and see quality control is playing a major role in today's industry, and it has a very good history. Actually, it has been developed stage by stage up to this point, right? So there are some important things in the future, important things in the past which has happened in the quality control field. So when it comes to quality control, something very important is this about the scientific management, that is work into task, improvement in productivity, work standards, risk of halting, innovation and continuous improvements. All these things, they started to talk about all these things in 1875 with Frederick W. Taylor, and also Swartz introduced statistical quality control charts, which are still playing a major role in statistical quality control. And also there is another important thing called acceptance sampling in quality control, which is introduced in 1928 by Harold Dodge. So all these things are some very important things which happen in the history in the field of quality control, and we will be discussing about the history of quality control in our future lectures as well. So when it comes to the areas of statistical quality control, we have statistical process control, and we have design of experiments, and we have acceptance sampling. Right? So when it comes to quality control, these three fields are coming under statistical quality control: the design of experiments, acceptance sampling, and statistical process control. So when it comes to statistical process control, this is the basic or the primary technique to evaluate the quality of your product or the service using control chart. So if you are using this statistical process control in order to evaluate the quality of your product or the service, what you have to do is you have to monitor your process continuously. So this is known as a process monitoring technique. You have to always monitor your process using the control charts. Then you can get an idea about the quality of your product or a service. So that is meant by statistical process control, and we will be talking about this furthermore in our upcoming lectures. And then we have design of experiments. So in design of experiments, it's a bit different than statistical process control. There you have to discover the key variables, and then you have to decide how you are going to reduce the variability of these variables, and how you are going to optimize the process performance, right? So actually this is a offline quality control tool. That is, you don't have to work on your process in order to conduct a design of experiment, right? So it's different than the statistical process control. And in design of experiment, mainly factorial experiments are used. Right? So actually in this session we are not interested, in this course we are not going to discuss about design of experiments, since it's a different thing, a different branch in statistical quality control, which you have to learn separately. So we are not going to discuss about that. And then you have the acceptance sampling. In acceptance sampling, what you do is, when you have a bulk or when you have a lot, right? When you have a bulk of products, you just test some of the products, and then you are taking the decision whether your product or your service is up to the standard, right? We'll be discussing about acceptance sampling also under this course. And if you take the systematic reduction of variability, actually the design of experiments are the optimal, the design of experiment is the optimal way to check or maintain the quality of a product or a service, right? And then you have the most primary way, that is the acceptance sampling, and then comes the statistical process control and the design of experiment. So this is the hierarchy of the precision when it comes to the systematic reduction of the variability, right? So I think what we discussed today is clear for you. What I want you to get is very basic example about quality, like what is quality, and why we concern about quality, what are the quality dimensions, and how you put those dimensions into the three quality characteristics, that is the physical and the sensory and the time orientation, and what has happened in the past in the field of quality control, and what are the things that we are going to discuss in the future under this quality control course, right? So I think for today's session this is enough. So I hope you understand, and if you have any question you can always contact me. You can send me a message through Cal, or you can directly send me an email to harshana@kln.ac.lk. So I will upload the next session as well to Cal, and I hope you will go through with this lecture, and if you have any concern please contact me. Thank you. Have a nice day.